Hey, hi, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Graciela, and this is the sketchbook that I've been drawing in literally every single day for the past 5 months. However, I have watched a good number of sketchbook tours in my time, and I understand that a brief intro is very much appreciated in this kind of video. So if you want to know more about the challenge, my thoughts on this sketchbook, a materials list, that sort of thing, that'll all be at the end of the video. And if you feel like it's weird that the tour is before the opinions, there are timestamps in the description and you are welcome to skip around. However, let's get into this. Very simple opening page. I blacked out my phone number so that you guys can't see it, sorry. And this is the very first spread. This is a little bit silly. This sketchbook was given to me as a gift by my grandfather for Christmas, and he also was so generous as to give me these really wonderful Prismacolor colored pencils, and this was just me trying out literally every color, basically. And I quite like how this turned out. Obviously, because I used literally every color, the color scheme is kind of all over the place, but I like the bugs and then the tags next to them. It feels very entomologist-esque, which is fun to me. Next spread, still playing with the colored pencils. These are just some fish. I really like the color scheme on these. I think that was really great. And these are the backsides of trapdoor spiders, I want to say. Trapdoor tarantulas. It's escaping me, but I thought that they were really cool and they made an interesting little drawing. This is a landscape, still working with the colored pencils. There's going to be a lot of colored pencils in this sketchbook. These are vases. To put it generously, hate these. I was going for a like stylized, flat sort of style, but they're just completely flat. They lack any sort of dimension, and the shapes really aren't that interesting or good either. This was meant to be like a cute little bunny for Year of the Rabbit, but I don't like either of these. This is a tree. I like this. Love these shadows, love these directional lines. That's all really cool and good. This is the first portrait of the sketchbook. Pretty much all of my portraits are done from imagination because I hate having to look up reference photos, and this is no exception. She's just came straight from my brain. This is meant to be a unicorn with a shell for a horn, which is inspired by a piece that my wonderful sibling made for me. I won't be too hard on myself for this because it was made literally 5 months ago, and obviously my style has changed and I've gotten better since then. But I think that this is an interesting and good concept with terrible execution. This horse face is really threatening. I don't like the colors. Just, I would love to redo this, is what I mean here. Some more portraits. I like this one better than this one, but nothing too special there. This is just swords and knives of the exciting and exotic variety. There's a lot of kind of random crap in this sketchbook because obviously I was trying to do something every single day, but I didn't always have anything that I really wanted to draw every single day, so sometimes I chose random things, and this is one of those times. This was another attempt at like stylizing something to be really simple, because that was something that I was trying to do in this sketchbook because it's so small. I can't really do the more like detail heavy style that I would normally gravitate towards. And I was trying to be like inspired by like Lee Ellickson and Paloma the Peach, but they pull it off. I really can't. I think that it's a combination of the fact that the anatomy of this leopard cat thing is really bad. Like, this face is ugh. And just the fact that it's not the style that I normally do. I like the colors on this one though. Some more little doodles from imagination. This, again, just doodling some flowers, making it look like a quilt. I think that this is cool, but I don't like the colors. The anatomy on this animal is really questionable, but I really like this concept, and I actually like the way that it was executed. Questionable anatomy or no. These are some mushrooms. You'll see more of these. This I'm going to have to censor because we're on youtube.com, but there's nothing wrong with the human body. I think that this is really good, actually. This is a spread that I quite like. I like the way that these two things are playing off of each other. This was me fooling around with my Posca markers to see if they had any ink left. The answer was yes, just not these colors. This is a moth inspired by the sun and a butterfly inspired by the moon. So cool, I know. These are just thumbnail sketches for pieces that I may or may not be making in the future. More mushrooms. Told you that they would show up again. These are my chickens. These were done from life. I don't remember why I was tasked with babysitting the chickens. Normally that's not a thing that we do, just like sitting out there and watching them to make sure that they're okay, but that's what I was doing this day, and I gave all of them a little draw because I love them. I think my favorite is this particular drawing of Dorothy. Really captures her likeness. Random vampire dude portrait, playing around with shape in these characters. Not sure if I fully succeeded, but I like that interesting sort of little braid situation that's happening there. Again, another portrait from imagination. I think that the hair is interesting, but the eyes are a little bit soulless. This was a day where I didn't know what to draw. More portraiture. I like the wing. I think that's cool. I actually really like this spread. I think that this is one of my favorite spreads from like this month, this early part of my sketchbook. I take it back. This is my favorite spread from the early part of my sketchbook. I love this. I love the beetle. I love this portrait. I really like the way that they're interacting with each other. This is good stuff. Just another portrait. To me, this color tastes like sour apple, like the candy flavor. Let me know what you think about that. These are some little potions in jars. I was lusting after, what is the brand? My brain is totally losing the name of the brand that these drawings were inspired by, but it's like this really cool like skincare and makeup brand that it's so out of my price range, it's not even funny, but the jars that their products come in are just beautiful, and I drew some of them, sort of. This was plans for my little felted dolls that I did successfully execute, sort of this cat in normal jeans, not a overall, but I do have plans to continue to felt the rest of these guys. These are just more thumbnail sketches. Another landscape with the old Prismacolors. I actually really like this. At the time I considered it to be unfinished because of the like weird thing that's happening over here, but I actually think that the colors and the way that the pencils were handled is really good, and I wish it had more depth, but like otherwise I really like this. This is fruit. Done on the first day of February when I was really wishing winter was just over. Another portrait. This is a horrible portrait. I don't know why I have this problem, but when I'm rushing in my portraits, for some reason the first thing to go is the symmetry between the eyes, and that's what happened here. This, I wanted to do the old like little star nerd blob page, but I drew the blobs and then didn't turn them into anything, so it's just blobs, nothing else exciting going on there. This is a vase, a take two, shall we say, of the vases from earlier, and this I like a lot more. I love the little lines, I like how simple it is, and I liked this fish that I drew so much that I drew it again, and then I added a little eel to match. This is just a cool spread of a profile and some spiky shapes. I really like this. I think that this is cool. This is a page where the transfer was really bad. This is just a little character and then some hastily drawn goldenrod, and then once again, I feel like whenever I don't know what to draw, I just draw like a star shape in various iterations. You'll see this motif quite a lot throughout the course of my sketchbook. This was something that I didn't finish, obviously, with a fun little portent of what's to come in the transfer. I really like the concept. I like the depth that I achieved in this part, but she looks a little cross-eyed, and that does bother me. Love these guys. Little dudes, little bros, good friends. Fun little character sketches. I love her hair. Love her hair. Wish that I had that kind of hair. A little more skeptical as to that guy, but love her hair. Love this. Love this creature. Love drawing weird animals. There will be a lot of weird animals in this sketchbook, and this is one of my favorites. Like the colors, like the shape, just very good. And actually, while originally I was annoyed at the way that the transfer was so aggressive on this page, I actually kind of like it. I think it's interesting. This is just a character sketch. And this, I didn't know what to draw, so I drew a spiral. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. So I was tasked with teaching a couple of art lessons for a homeschooling program that the library puts on, and I decided that what I wanted to do was teach the kids how to make eraser stamps, because I loved doing that when I was a kid. Junior printmaking for the win, and I made this cool little fish, and this was just me testing out to make sure that I had it down before I went and taught the lesson, but that was a lot of fun, and this is a very fond memory. And I drew a car from life. My life drawing skills are not the strongest, and a car is kind of hard to draw, so I'm gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt and say that this is okay. More little character sketches. This was actually a little outfit of the day moment, and this was me planning out a makeup look for a party that I was going to. This, I think, is an example of that same sort of more flat and simple stylization that actually worked really well. Even though the anatomy is wonky, to me, it just works. I really like this. I think that it's a combination of the simple shape and all of this detail in the feathers, and that's definitely a concept that I return to. This was just me planning out a painting, which obviously I started in February, and I still haven't finished. That's a video coming soon. These are leaves, specifically the leaves of my ZZ plant, done in highlighter, as you do. This was a really simple drawing of me testing out whether or not my Copic markers bled through on this sketchbook, and the answer was yes, so that was me just filling up that page. This is a little character sketch, more character sketches, more stars just to fill the space, and this is a landscape, duh. And I really like this. I think this is probably the only black and white landscape that I have in this sketchbook, but I really like the way that it turned out, and I especially love these directional lines on the clouds. That's really cool to me. More weird animals. I love this guy. I love this spread. This is a 10 out of 10 spread. I don't think that I need to even explain myself here. This is just good stuff. This was me trying to draw a 3/4 angle portrait. And did I succeed? I don't know. It's on the page. This is a mermaid. Love her. Love the little directional lines, little shading, cross-hatching sort of moment. Another weird animal. What can I say? It's a good one. Is the... Okay, I'm so sorry that the sketchbook was slightly off-center all that time. This was me experimenting with lighting. Once again, the eyes, not on the same plane, but I like this blue shadow, and I like this blob, and I like this color of blue, so I'm willing to forgive the eyes. This is me returning to the idea of a simple shape, but with a lot of detail packed into it. This concept of a mermaid wearing a dress is not original to me, of course, but I really like how this turned out, even though the transfer kind of ruined this particular spread. But I think she's super cute, and I like this little house, again, with that same detail-heavy sort of experimentation. This I originally was going to add more detail on top of these silhouettes, but I liked the way the silhouettes looked by themselves, so I just left it like that. Just life drawing. This was more just fooling around with my Posca markers, seeing which ones do still have ink in them, and despite the horrible bleed through, because this part got really wet, I think that this is actually a really like cool and like crisp sort of spread. Just a character sketch. Love that 3-horn action. I think that's really cool. That guy is looking at you. Watch out. A stormy sort of landscape. I really like this. I wish I had spent a little more time blending out that storm cloud situation. It looks a little jaggedy to me, but overall I still really like this. These are little bugs. I love them. They're my friends. Some shooting star action. I really like this despite the aggressive transfer. Some more character sketch with that like cool flat matte black hair. It's the Posca marker. I really like that. This is gouache, just experimenting with landscape. Lately I've really been into landscapes with clouds where like the shadows of the cloud are showing up on the ground. I don't know why that's so satisfying to me, but I really like it. Generic character sketch, generic star motif. This was, I just didn't know what to draw, and I drew this crown and that sword, and I decided that I was done, and so I just wrapped it up right there. This is a tree that is in front of the store that I work at. And yes, I did draw that while I was supposed to be working. This is bad, and I'm not even going to make excuses for it. This is just bad. These fruit soulless. She's cute though. Love this. I think this is one of my favorite character sketches or portraits or whatever in the entire sketchbook. And this is one of my least favorite. I don't know if you can tell, but this was gouache laid on top of colored pencil in an effort to cover it up because I hated how it was going so badly, and then the gouache went just as badly. Some days just aren't art days. This is a snake though, and a little ladybug, and I liked that. And this was to cover up the transfer from the Sharpie on the other page, and this might be one of my favorite star motifs in the entire sketchbook. I really like these swirling clouds. This is done in gouache, by the way. The gold metallic, it's really cool. And to that tune, this might be one of my favorite character sketches in the entire sketchbook. Like, I just really like the shading and the depth, and like, I think the anatomy is really solid. This looks a lot like one of my friends from art school. You know who you are. Another character sketch, playing around with those blue shadows again. I like her, she's cute. This is very subtle fan art from a series that I'm reading that is not at all particularly popular, so I don't expect you to recognize it. But I like, it wasn't intentional, but I like that there are these eyes, and then the moth kind of has eyes as well. That's interesting and fun to me. More character sketches. This girl is weird. She feels like not in my style at all, but I drew her like completely naturally, not looking at anything else, so I don't know where that came from. This is a dandelion. Not my best, not my worst. Just filled a page. More stars, more stars. Had a rough weekend, what can I say? Another character sketch. I really like this one. I love that little action that's happening up there with the horns. This is a crustacean. A weird animal, shall we say. I like weird animals. Another portrait. I feel like this is when I was really starting to get a handle on the way that the colored pencils worked. A little late in the game, I must confess, considering that I was at this point more than, 3/4 of the way through the sketchbook, but at least I got there eventually. And this was kind of a I didn't know what to draw sort of day, but I actually really like the way that this turned out, especially like these two together, even though they have nothing to do with each other. For some reason, this is just going well for me. This I intended to color the background black and then I forgot about it, but I've been really into werewolves lately. My inner wolf girl is sat up and howling at the moon lately. This started out as My Little Pony fan art, but I kind of forgot about it and then came back to it later in the day and turned it into something much more dignified. And I really like this spread. These are vegetables, and again, these two things have nothing to do with each other, but just like the way that the colors are playing off of each other makes this a really satisfying spread to me. This was my attempt at drawing somebody who didn't look like they were in their 20s, and it failed miserably. I should not have gone in with Pin. That was not the right thing to do when I was trying something new. I think that like the bottom half of her face is fine, just this eye is like drifting off into nowhere. I don't know why that is such a grievance I have, but that is what happens. Some more colorful blobs, you know how it is. Oh. This. So this was originally a portrait, a little character sketch. You can see here that it had an orange background, and I worked on this trying to fix it for like 20 minutes, half an hour, an amount of time that was really unbecoming for how small and insignificant this particular character sketch was. And in the end, I got so frustrated that I just covered it up with this metallic acrylic paint, and I told myself that I would come back to it, but I was just, after that, I was in such a bad mood that I didn't want to come back to it. So now I just have this wonderful silver page in my sketchbook. I actually think that that's kind of cool though. This is another spiral from a day that I didn't know what to draw. More incoherent doodling. This day I wrote down the date and then didn't draw anything. Nobody's perfect. More character sketches, more character sketches. This is a wonderful little pencil sketch again with that like cloud putting shadows on the landscape. I really like this. Some weird animals. Love these. Love that like texture, that pattern of the scales. That's always fun. These were some outfits of the day. Different shapes. My two modes are big sweater, little pants, little shirt, big skirt. That's what we've got. That's just a character sketch. Again, cloud, shadow, cloud, shadow. Love it. 10 out of 10. This was a drawing of my frog teapot, featured, I think, in my last video. I drew this cute little frog and this cute little toad, and then I kind of ruined it by this humongous black tadpole. But what can you do? She's a sweetheart. She's just artistically questionable. This is another character sketch. Love this color of blue, and I love the like stars on her sweater. That's really cool to me. I wish I had this sweater. Some more pencil sketches. I really like this one. I started out hating it, but I pulled it together in the end. This was meant to look like she's like luminescent and like glowing from within, but I think that I stopped blending and building a little bit too soon, and so I did not quite pull together that effect. This, I can't explain why I love it so much. Again, this is fan art to a book that has no fandom, but I love her. She looks great. Like something even about the way that like the markers were wet and like blended together right here, and like there's all these scribbles to cover up the places where I drew over the lines. Like I really like this, and I am very interested in doing more stuff like this. This is a vegetable and a fish. Nothing more to say there. This is strategically placed black blobs to cover up the bleed through from the Copic marker, and I actually really like this. I think it's the evolved version of my star motif, is this like shooting star situation. I think that that's really cool. A more successful aged woman, shall we say. I really like her hair as well. This was watercolor. At this point, I was just looking for ways to fill the pages so close to the end. But I like this. It's like a half reminds me of aliens, half reminds me of like amoebas. I think this is cool. An Eastern Hercules beetle, my favorite kind of beetle. Originally, I was trying to make this little page into like, oh, it's like the woman and then like the bottle and like they kind of have the same shape language, but I just hate this page. I like added this weird blue effect in an attempt to save it and it just made it worse. I don't know. I don't like this. I was having a bad day, but the transfer from this page kind of makes it a little bit comical. But I really like this character drawing. I think she's super cute. This is very 14-year-old me, in terms of aesthetic. We're in the last few pages here, and I was like really trying to finish strong, and so I did these cool colored pencil characters portraits, and I think that this is the moment where I actually understood the colored pencil. Like, I was going in, I wasn't afraid to be bold and like actually blend and press really hard on the page, because previously you've probably noticed that like I don't actually fully build up the color in a single other portrait, but like these, the color is there and it's popping, and I'm very glad that at the very least I discovered this on the second to last page. And this is the final spread I was trying to do again with what I was doing with the little cowgirl earlier. And I don't think I was quite as successful. I think because the first one was a little bit more like impromptu and like authentic, whereas this kind of feels like, I don't know. And this I tried to do like a really cool portrait at the very end, and it just wasn't going well. I tried it first in watercolor, then in colored pencil, then in Posca marker, and it just wasn't any good, so goodbye. Except not really, because then I drew my sibling's cat because they made this little stamp of her, and it was just so funny that I had to include it and then back it up with the real girl. But yeah. So as far as my thoughts and feelings on this sketchbook, on the challenge in general, I feel like I have to start with the disclaimer that obviously if you're taking this from a like, did I succeed perspective, I already admitted to the fact that like I missed a couple pages in this book, right? So like in that sense, no, I did not succeed in whatever this like drawing everyday challenge was. I also, at some points in the sketchbook, missed a day and then went back and then did 2 pages on one day to make up for it. That was kind of just how it had to happen, because obviously like I'm not perfect, nobody is. But as far as the essence of this challenge goes, I feel like I basically drew every single day, so I can talk about it from there. As far as like my thoughts on the challenge go, if I were to do this again, I would take it in one of 2 different directions, because I feel like the way that this wasn't quite perfect for what I wanted it to be. Maybe it would be perfect for you, but for me, I would either make it a whole lot more specific, like 100 faces, or like filling this sketchbook entirely with hands or landscapes, or something that was a little bit more specific. Just because one of the things that I struggled with so much in this challenge was what to draw, and that led to a lot of days where I just drew a star or a spiral, or like didn't really do any art. I just put a mark on the page and called it a day, and that's fine. I think that it definitely like loosened me up, got those creative juices flowing, but I think that this challenge would have been a little bit more productive if I had chosen something specific. Or if I had done this in a larger sketchbook. This is like 4x4, 3x3. It's a tiny sketchbook, and my style artistically is huge, complicated, colorful paintings, and this sketchbook was a little bit too small for me to do what I really wanted to do, and because it was so small, the format that I chose was to fill a page every single day, when I think that if I had wanted to really be able to experiment with the composition and anatomy and color palette and all of those things that would have actually been able to convert into a finished piece, I would have needed more space in the actual page. And I think if I was doing that, I would switch over the challenge from filling up a page every single day to like committing a certain amount of time every day, like 15 minutes I have to work in this sketchbook. And it doesn't matter if I finish the piece, it just matters that I worked on it. And that I think would have allowed me to like branch out a little bit more and actually like draw the full body and get a little bit more detail in there. So that's what I would have changed about the challenge. But as far as what I really liked about the challenge, I liked that it got my creative juices flowing. I like that I kind of had to come up with something every single day, even if it was stupid. It made me feel less pressure about failing and like making a bad piece of art, because these pages are so tiny that I could just say, whatever, we're moving on, and flip the page, and then it was gone. That was definitely nice. I think that this challenge would be really useful. I wanted to be more like loose, less attached to your sketches. I think that that is what this challenge was really for. As far as my feelings on the sketchbook itself and the art that I was making, again, I think that it kind of wasn't in my style because of how small the pages were, and that was kind of at times frustrating. But especially towards the end, I really like how I was using the colored pencil. I really like how creative I was getting, how experimental I was getting. There's a lot of art that I really like that I made in this sketchbook. And that's really cool. I'm overall pretty happy with this. Yeah, I think that that is all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you made it all the way to the end, feel free to let me know what your favorite and least favorite spreads were. And I hope that this inspired you to make your own wonderful spreads in your own sketchbook, or maybe even try this challenge for yourself. I don't know. Either way, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again next time. Bye!